All right, cool.
Today is Sunday. Today is Sunday, August 31st, 2014, and we're here at the Roots Picnic, 42nd Annual Roots Family Picnic, collecting stories for Roots Voices. And last year, we were fortunate enough to have an opportunity to talk to Paul. And Paul is here today to give us an update on his story. Paul, what's up? What's going
Oh
on?
my God. So last year I said that I wanted to be the next Michael Moore, Ava DuVernay, Spike Lee, Ken Burns, and Gordon Parks all put together. And God gave me a job as a photographer. So one of the things I've been doing for the last year is I've been actually going around with my cell phone collecting webcasting stories. And so most recently, I was able to go to the Speak Up event that happened at the library, and that was because of the shooting incident that happened. And Wednesday, they did part two, that was at South Lake. And so there was Shelly Seacrest was there, Pastor Braxton from New Hope Church was there, New Beginnings Church was there, another lawyer, there was a judge, I think that was there, and some other community activists were there. And it was all about the shooting incident that happened with George Michael. And so some good communication happened, and I wasn't able to go, but I asked a friend of mine to go and videotape it. My friend happens to work for the Seattle channel, and so he videotaped it, and the file is sitting out there on Dropbox, and I have to download it to put it up on my YouTube channel, Vimeo channel. But that's just one story. Another.
Continuing with collecting the stories, which is so important about what we talked about last year too. So you're just like bumping it up a notch.
Oh my God, so yeah, webcasting. So 2 weeks ago, I ran into Larry Gossett at Whole Foods. I call it Whole Check, but Whole Foods, who gave me the rundown about how he protested and sat in the president's office to start the Black Student Union. This is 40 years ago. And I shot him, and it's out there on the cloud. And then most recently, I met and know Jesse Weinberry, who's the CEO of this company, Broadcast Urban. And 40 years ago, he graduated from the University of Washington and went over as an Alpha. And so at that time, 10 of the 12 Alpha brothers that went over came back to do a documentary about their life experience. So 40 years ago, they graduated, and then they came back and met at the new upgraded Multicultural Center at the University of Washington. And so I was able to webcast the conversation with Jesse and the new director of the Multicultural Center, University of Washington.
So it's like a reunion.
Exactly, a reunion. And I think it was, the first African American mayor of Seattle was the MC for the conversation. And so I know I'm roundabout, because and I was saying that Seattle is like a 0.6 degrees separation, not 6 degrees, 0.6, because it's so close. So that's Larry Gossett. And then I was able to attend Eric Pettigrew's kickoff campaign, and he held it at a brewery here in Seattle, the only 100% owned and female operated brewery in the state. And so I was able to do a conversation of Eric Pettigrew, and then a second one with the owner of this brewery.
Right, and so the brewery is where?
It's in Hillman City.
Oh.
Yeah, it's here in Seattle, Hillman City. It's on Rainier. I forgot the actual street address. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a block south from Maxim. It's called Maxim. And so, and even with Club Maxim, that's another crazy thing, because in addition to me being, my elevator pitch, award-winning computer engineer with skills in application development, social networking, digital media, and I'm changing my career into digital media, I can now put filmmaking in the list, because I was able to combine a lot of the conversations I webcasted into a short, it was 2 hours, but into a movie that I produced and shown and screened at Club Maxim. I mean, it's just,
So, in just the short year of when we
last met, yeah.
yeah, you have really just.
But there's more.
It's like,
There's more.
Expanding.
There's more.
Expanding your
Yeah.
horizon.
Well,
So what are you going to do? Are you going to come back next year and tell us that you won the Emmy or what?
hey, it is fascinating because I have to leave because I'm now living in Aloha Inn, which is a transitional housing complex here in Seattle, and everybody there is homeless, and it's managed by homeless people. And so at 5 p.m. on Sunday, they have something called a General Assembly. So all the residents have to be there, and they go over new rules. If somebody did something wrong, then they'll be penalized.
Open discussion too?
Yeah. So to live there, since you're homeless, you have to, either come up with an eviction notice or some type of thing that shows that you're homeless. The waiting list right now is 4 months to get involved to be in there. Once you get in, you have 2 years that you can live there. And the idea is, there's a lot of programs because everybody there is going through different types of addictions or different types of stuff. And so there are actually 2 other PhDs that live there. But anyway, so at Aloha Inn, there's 15 hours a week that you have to do as part of your rent, so to speak. And there's different departments. There's front desk, there is grounds, there's security, there's a kitchen, there's housekeeping. And so you spend 15 hours a week doing a job there. And it's broken into 3-hour chunks. And so I've been able to do a 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. shift on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The reason I picked 3 a.m. to 6 because at the beginning of the year, I was an adjunct professor at Prairie View A&M in Texas. I was teaching a microprocessing class, an 888, 886 microprocessor class. And I used Google Hangouts, so video conference, from my room here in Seattle to a classroom in Texas.
But what about the story at the Aloha facility?
Yeah.
What about that story?
Well, that story is amazing also because, again...
Can you film that?
Yeah, actually, I have filmed 3 people so far there. And in addition to that, there's another woman who doesn't live at Aloha, but she lives at 1811 East Lake. 1811 is a home for alcoholics, and she herself was an alcoholic. She no longer is, but that facility is one of the only places where you can still drink and live there. Most of the transitional homes, it's a no-use, no drugs, no alcohol situation. But there at 1811 East Lake, you could still drink. And so I met this woman through the church I'm going through, Unity Church in Seattle. And I did a webcast of her, actually, a conversation about what she's going through. And so...
Well, I find all of that, as a storyteller myself, and wanting to capture stories, that this is really interesting on what you've done in this past year. And so, can I say you can come back next year and tell me where you're at then?
Well, yeah. I'm feeling kind of like, on the one hand, I feel so blessed. I think God has given me every single thing I wanted to have happen. I was able to see Fishbone, my favorite band of all time, and I actually met and had a conversation, a brief one, with Angelo, the lead singer, and Norwood, the bass player. So apparently they're being sued by somebody who stage dove and got injured. They won, but now they're coming with a civil lawsuit because Fishbone is no longer signed with any major label. Is a major thing. And if you go to a Fishbone show, you know that you're going to stage dive. That's part of the energy at that show. So that's that. I was able to see Passing Strange. And so Passing Strange is a musical about autobiographical musical about a brother who was born in like South Central, but went to, after he finished college, goes to England and Europe to find himself. And so the play started in Broadway, off Broadway, but it was so popular that the word got out, and Spike Lee saw it, and he filmed the closing weekend of it. This is years ago. And so I was able to see it. It played here in an independent musical that Tyrone Brown directed. So Tyrone Brown, I know because of a musical he did years ago at the Rebar called Hot Grits. Hot Grits was a musical based on African American females in a punk rock band. None of them knew how to play, but they did it, and they're still together.